All right. Hey, mamas. I am so happy to be here with Dr. Karen Wolfe. And the last time we were together, there was like a crazy fire alarm and all this kind of chaos that happened at the event that we were at, that she came to Windsor to speak at. And that's actually a really good segue, Karen, for this year, because we want to talk about the impact of stress and how people can recover from it. But we could not have
Yes.
planned for this year.
Yes. Yes, that was a year. That was 2020. We'll never forget.
Yes, and I know you and I are so passionate about prevention. Like it's preventative is
Yep.
everything. It's all about the lifestyle. But I know everyone was affected so differently in so many different ways over this past year. Nothing that people could have planned or even imagined that could have happened. Some people with how their lives got turned upside down and probably caused a lot of stress for people.
Well, and that's what's hard to be compassionate. It's so important to be compassionate to that personal effect, even though we're talking about how to be resilient.
Yeah.
I really want everyone to know that what we talk about or what I share is to support them in their
Mhm.
lifestyle, not in any way to throw shame or blame or
No.
guilt. That's not part of our repertoire. So when I support people with being stress resilient, it's really wherever they are in their life to choose what works for them
Yeah.
and start small. This is not
Mm.
about being perfect. It's
No.
about just being really honest and being compassionate to ourselves and
Yeah.
wherever we are, and say, okay, this is one thing I'm going to do that can move me towards being more resilient.
Yes, we need that in the boatloads. Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
compassion towards ourselves. Because
Yes. Yes.
absolutely. So what is stress? Like we talk about the word, we think we know what it is, but what is it actually like from a doctor's perspective?
Yes. So there's the causes of stress, and then there's the effects of stress in the body. So people think fight or flight, tigers attacking us, which is how our body is set up. But the truth is that what we went through in 2020, that kind of stress is the worst kind of stress because it was never ending, or we thought it was, and then it didn't. And
Mhm.
then we got another hit, like all of these, and whether you're in Canada or US or Australia, the countries were all responding differently. It was stressful just trying to keep up with what was
Mm.
going on. So that kind of constant stress, what it's doing in our body is it's triggering this hormone cortisol. So to break it down really simply, we have this stress response and a relaxation response. And ideally it's balanced. We need a stress response. That's what gets us up and in the morning, and that's what helps us take care of things like you having a time frame to pick up your kiddos. Like there's a little stress involved in that. That's all normal. It's called
Yeah.
eustress. Uh, but that can get overridden. You can have too much what we did last year. And so
Mhm.
then this hormone cortisol takes over. And I can't tell you how damaging this hormone cortisol is to every aspect of our body. So our brain, our gut, our mental health, cortisol puts on weight. It's gluconeogenic. It makes blood sugar. It can precipitate diabetes. It's a hormone that yes, plays a role in our body, but when it gets overrun with the sympathetic nervous stimulation, it's crazy in our body. And then the balance of that is what I call the rest and digest system, the relaxation, the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's what we need to be engaged when we're eating. We need a balance of that. So truly, so-called stress management is like a seesaw, teeter-totter. We call it seesaws in Australia. You might too in Canada.
Seesaw, yeah, we say seesaw.
Seesaw,
Yeah.
yes, where it's balanced, the stress response, the relaxation response. So I don't want people to think, oh, we shouldn't have stress because we need some amount. But often in our lifestyle, we're not engaged with that balance, that teeter-totter that's like the
Mhm.
parasympathetic nervous system. What are we doing in our life to balance the normal amount of stress that we have? And even with 2020, there are ways for us to up level the parasympathetic nervous system to keep up with the sympathetic nervous system. And that's why I think
Okay.
what we want to talk about today is even though stress happens and there's certain things that we can't do much about. What we can do is to balance the stress with all of these techniques, what we call stress management, to engage more of the rest and digest system in the body.
Okay. So I think most people who are listening, if they had a stressful year, and I don't know many who avoided it, but okay, so they're going to be in a reactive state. Their body's already gone through the ringer, so to speak. Can we touch on, is there anything to do to prevent or like to prepare your body for when stress happens and you can't plan it?
Yes, absolutely. Because that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest, you can practice techniques that if you practice them often enough, say before the stressor, then the body can engage it straight away. And the body has this
Okay.
memory of how to get into that system. And even if you've never done it before, it's never too late, but it does require practice. Just like if you're an athlete and you want to get to a certain level, you've got to practice. It's
Right.
conscious. I call it CPR, conscious, powerful relaxation
Oh.
that literally will save your life.
Are we
And it
talking
doesn't have
about
to be,
meditation?
well, that is one. There are many. And again, let's talk about what we talked about at the beginning, which is personalize it. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we say meditation, people are like, oh no, I don't do that. Right. So we're gonna give some techniques, some ideas, and people choose what works for them. So prayer slash meditation has a similar concept where all we're doing is mindfully being in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, meditation, prayer, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it, and doing it regularly. Like I do know some people that through 2020, that was their practice, that they made sure that for just say 20 minutes a day or even 5 minutes a day, you just stop, use the breath, take a deep breath. The breath is, I think, the magical part of all of this, because when we are focused on taking a deep breath in and letting it out, that allows us to focus in, being mindful, and to switch off all the busy, busy, busy. So even if you're sitting in the car waiting to pick up your kiddos, to be able to just take a moment, a mindful moment, and use the breath. Take a big breath in and a breath out, and just ground yourself in the moment. It's amazing, the power of the breath. So I put breath work, meditation, prayer, mindfulness, all in that umbrella. And of course, that could be a whole topic of how you do that. I actually have heart math, which I'm sure you know, heart as in the heart, and math, MATH. They have this really great I have a little box here because I use it with a lot of my clients. They have this inner balance, well, video, inner balance little biofeedback, and I put it on my iPhone, and the app shows me if I'm in coherence with my breath, because we can think that we're relaxed, but the body might be telling us something different.
Yes.
So this biofeedback little gadget really is an app that tells me if I'm truly in that rest and digest mode. And then using the breath, it gives me feedback about how to get in that. So I find that really helpful, because I'm always thinking and creating, and sometimes I'm a little out of touch with what's really happening inside. So using some kind of biofeedback, that can be really helpful.
Yeah. The
So
body
that's
doesn't
just
lie.
yes, the body doesn't lie. But
Mm-hmm.
we can be so out of touch with it because we
Yeah.
live in our head. So really dropping down into the body and using body techniques to engage that parasympathetic nervous system can be really powerful. Massage is great. And of course, we weren't able to have that last year. And a lot of people use massage and body work as their way of engaging. So
Mm-hmm.
that was missing last year, unless you're lucky enough to have someone that can help you with that. So body work is also super powerful. So these are kind of what I call coping skills or resilience skills, yoga. And
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it great last year? One of the silver linings was all of these virtual classes that we could do for free.
Non-stop. I know.
Yes,
It's
which can be
incredible.
overwhelming because, like, which one do you do? But I say just
Yeah.
pick one
Just
that works for you,
anyone.
and
Yeah.
do it. Don't pay attention to all these other people that say, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Just pick one that works for you and go with that. And so yoga and that kind of mindful movement where you're slowing down versus
Mhm.
the runners. See, when you run, you engage the sympathetic nervous system. That has great advantage. And make sure you balance it with some kind of relaxation technique too.
Beautiful. Yeah, running and yoga, they go really well together.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so from what I'm understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, so the tools that we can empower ourselves to, prepare our body for stressful situations are the same ones we would use to recover.
Yeah,
But when we recover, there's usually more work to do.
yes, that's right. Because we're in a high state. And also there's that PTSD. I mean, we
Yeah.
all have PTSD from what happened
Mm,
last year. And that's why this year, actually, my big focus is on mental health. So last year it
yeah.
was on resilience. This year is on mental health, because I think this is where we're going to see a lot of the work, the practice, the skills for us to be able to move into whatever this new life is for
Yeah.
us and our kids. What does school look like? What does work look like? What does friendships look like? Like we
Yeah.
are still in this thing,
We're
and
still
will be
missing.
for 2021 in
Mhm.
adapting and being kind of a change agent and working with that and allowing. If we think we're going to go back to normal, that's just, we're not. It's going to be, and I don't like that other term they're using called new normal. We're going to kind of reshape our lives
Yeah.
and look at where we are at the time, because we still don't know. We're still uncertain. And even living in uncertainty can be very stressful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Now, I think a lot of people might be listening to this, and there's some who absolutely would identify with, um, they've had struggles with mental health before. They're like, they've come kind of to terms to that. They identify with that. And then I think there's also a large part of the population who they were never thought that they would have anxiety or they would feel depressed or they would, have different symptoms. But I think you're encompassing what's happening and what's happened so well in terms of we all have PTSD to some degree. We've all lost
Yes.
something. We've all lost different things that mean a lot to us, and we have to, I think, be really honest with ourselves and give ourselves the space and compassion to say, oh, this is making me sad, or I miss this. Like, how can
Mhm.
we help people with that? Because I think there's a lot of people who are processing it without really understanding it.
Well, that's where community comes in. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a community, a like-minded community where you can be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Every research into health talks about this. In that book, Reversing Heart Disease, Dean Ornish actually spoke about reversing heart disease with having a community where you can open your heart to who you really are.
Yeah.
Often we're pretending, or in trying to cope, we're trying to be something and covering up the true feelings. We've got to open up and have a
Mm-hmm.
safe place to talk. And that's why we're so fortunate, Krista, of course, in our USANA community, that we
Yeah.
have these teams where they've become more family than business partners. So, and we all have this same like-minded thinking. So I have just again been so grateful in 2020 that we have a wellness community that can talk about creating health in a time that we're facing this disease,
Yeah.
because we didn't get much positive talk last year about creating health. And I
Yeah.
was just really on a bandwagon about, hey guys, yes, this is really happening, but we need to create health in our own life to be able to be that antidote to what we're seeing.
Yes.
So community and taking good supplements to feed our body the right nutrients and to support a healthy immune system so that we're a bad host to the virus, and having a community where we can just talk about what's really happening. All
Mm-hmm.
of these, it's a lifestyle that we're fortunate we have, but I'm also aware that a lot of people don't have that. So find a like-minded community that aligns with your point of view. Um, and also last year we faced a terrible election that would just hit us in the United States, like on top of the pandemic. So people were in just this extra heightened state. And they were so polarized. It was ugly how people, almost families, were split with their points of view. What happened to just being able to talk about what you believed and disagreeing? And if you have a healthy community, you can do that. You can talk about
Hmm.
your truth and not be like judged and shamed and blamed. So find a community. It's really important.
That's that's the most important thing we could share, I think, is the community piece, because I don't know how what my life would look like, number one, without this community, but also how easily we were all able to pivot and say, okay, that's it, we've got this, and we came together arm in arm. We're like, okay, so we're going to build like this now, we're going to show up for each other like this now. And it gave us such a positive focus to say, okay, this is like, we get to talk about health in this time where everyone's talking about disease. We can
Yes.
talk about health, and we can talk about possibilities, and we can talk about support, and we can be there for each other. And like, our USANA community came together like never before over this
Mhm.
past year. I mean, we've always been a tight knit bunch, but like, we really had each other's backs. And I think, even on days where I was just like so overwhelmed, and the kids, we've been home with the kids for like how long, like, and it was like I had my hour to come together with with all kinds of amazing people and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do right now. And I felt good and accomplished and heard and seen and valued. And the community
I would
piece
put that
is,
on the top of the list of creating health. If you don't
yeah,
have a community and you are isolated and almost feeling like a victim of
yeah.
circumstances, that is so damaging to our mental and physical health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
we all need it.
we all need that. We
Yeah.
all need it.
Even like our introverts, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
there's actually, like, the introverts this past year that I know personally, at least, I don't want to speak for everyone, but they also crave community, but in a different way. Like, it's in a more protected way, but to show up somewhere on a Zoom meeting where we come together, and they feel they can take it in, and they can take in the support, and they can hear positive things, that was also served them really well as well.
So you consider yourself an extrovert then? Would
Yeah.
you? Oh, okay. Because people don't realize, but I am actually an introvert.
Yeah.
And how I kind of define that is I fill up my energy by being alone. That's how
Yeah.
I define an introvert. Even
Hmm.
though I love to speak, but I need most of my time, I need a lot of filling up. And so this pandemic for introverts was really dangerous if we didn't already have a community. So I
Hmm.
have a community that we had already set up, right? Years. I've been with USANA 16 years. So I have this beautiful community like you do, where we meet every week on Zoom, and we have for years. And so I get filled up with their beauty and their light and their energy. And then I get time to also bounce myself, which again is like that seesaw. We
Yeah.
need balance in our life.
Yeah.
And so I think USANA is wonderful for introverts because it's an online business. So
Hmm.
we communicate with people when we need to, and then we can just be all alone when we need that too. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. And you
wonderful.
can build it from your phone.
Yes, yes.
Let's actually just close with any more tools that you want them to have for recovery. So if someone is very much in, they're depleted, their adrenals are depleted, they are burnt out, they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, overworked, etc. What are the tools? Where should they start?
Well, with their own self-care wellness plan. Let's begin
Mm,
there
okay.
and commit to it. Commit to it as much as you would commit to it if you had a child. I always say this because for the mamas and the house, we know what we would do for our children, which is basically anything. So that kind of passion towards ourselves. So that requires exercise. I cannot reinforce enough the power mentally and physically of some kind of movement exercise that gets your heart rate up. I do it every morning. I begin with exercise, and it's more for my mental health than anything. So, some kind of exercise just for you that you love, physical activity, eating whole, healthy foods, trying to get rid of the processed foods just potentiates mental health disease because it's not real food that's feeding our neurons. So good healthy food, good community, bringing love and compassion and connection in our life. And I know just those three things for a lot of people is a lot, but then don't forget every day to be nutrienting your body. So we know the cell essentials is the basic nutrients every cell needs for optimal health. So even if you just commit to taking the cell essentials every day as prescribed, which is twice a day, that is going to support a healthy immune system. It's going to support a healthy gut, which supports a healthy mental health. Of course, we add other things to that based on what we know and how we're nourishing our body. A fish oil is a high quality fish oil is fabulous. And then I believe a probiotic. Everyone needs, there's the fish oil. Yeah. Everyone needs to take a probiotic every day because we have all of these microbes inside of us that we need to feed. And if they're fed well with a good probiotic, then they're going to provide good mental and physical health to us. So just writing down your own wellness plan for your own self-care and committing to it with the same passion that you would if you needed to do it for your child.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say that enough. Self-care, self-care, self-care. And there are many things we can do, but just commit to just a few. And then maybe have a accountability buddy that will hold you to that and that you can to them, so that you're bringing in that community and that connection to support you to do that.
Awesome. What do you think about sleep?
Well,
Is
yes, that's,
this
gosh,
this
the
we added
whole,
this lately, and this has been
yes, I love
fantastic.
that mineral calm. It has 300 milligrams of magnesium. I am such a fan of magnesium because most of us are depleted of magnesium,
Yeah.
and magnesium has many benefits. It helps you sleep and it helps the gut. If you have any kind of constipation, then magnesium is a relaxant of muscles, which is also of the gut.
Yeah.
So you should have a good bowel motion the next day after taking magnesium at night. So that mineral calm in water, last thing, like the last thing you do before you go to sleep, fabulous self-care routine.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things, I love the Hepasil too, the liver support, because our toxic environment, our liver needs support. So hopefully whoever's listening can reach out to you, Krista, and just say, hey, what is the best thing to take? Like if I'm only going to do 5 things, what would they be? And just ask for support with that.
Yeah.
Um, because some people, they stretch too much. They put their goals too big, and
I
then it's kind of
know.
like self-sabotage. So just pick, if
Yeah.
you're having trouble sleep, I'm glad you brought that up, Krista, because mineral calm and melatonin could be 2 things that will change your
Mhm.
life, because good quality sleep is essential for
Oh,
everything, physical and emotional health, just
yeah.
managing the day.
And for all the mamas who are like totally exhausted when you go to sleep and you can just hit the pillow and you're just like toast, you fall asleep with your kids, all these things, like I totally get that. But there you can actually have better sleep. And that's really where my focus is right now too. It's like I can fall asleep on the sofa, no problem after, being a mom all day and working hard and all that stuff. But there's actually you could in like improve your sleep so it's more restorative and you wake up feeling even better.
Yes. Yes, restorative sleep. That's what you're saying. It's not just sleep, but it's good quality sleep and
Yeah.
learning what that is.
Yeah. And oh, you feel like a total queen in the morning. When I wake up and after I took I did my nice nighttime routine, I had my magnesium tea, and then I slept in my own bed. I feel like I could take on the world.
Yes. It's amazing when you get good sleep. You're a new person.
Well, I could talk to you forever, Dr. Karen. This has been amazing. And you're such a treasure to all of us in our community and also globally, everyone that you so generously share your knowledge with. So, everyone who's listening in the show notes, definitely take a look, and there'll be a link to her website, which is full of resources and blog posts, as well as her podcast. And definitely just learn from Dr. Karen because, Dr. Wolfe, she gives this beautiful approach to healing, and she really facilitates this health movement and empowers you to feel your best. And that's what it's really about. And I said it right in the beginning that we love talking about prevention, but we want you to feel empowered in your own health. You know that
Hmm.
you can heal yourself, and you have the tools to feel your absolute best today and also for life.
And I will say, Krista, having come from the Western medical model, because I went to medical school in
Yeah.
Australia, as you know, and I'm a big fan. I still really acknowledge that, of course, but we weren't trained in lifestyle medicine. We were trained
Mhm.
in diagnostic medicine. So don't expect your medical doctor to be that person that helps you with lifestyle skills,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we weren't trained that way. So
yeah.
truly optimize your health, it's a different question. I
Yeah.
used to work with what creates disease, but now that I'm working more as a health coach, the question is what creates health? It's a different question. And
Mhm.
that's the field we are working in, you and I, and
Mhm.
very passionate about.
Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I look forward to doing hopefully more with you soon.
Great.
And
Yes.
I'm enjoying this sunshine that's coming in up here in
I
Canada.
see
We have
that.
the sunny
Yes.
vibes that are coming, and I'm going to go pick up my voice. But I really appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
All right, Krista. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.